My goodness me, it is early, but welcome to Heathrow Airport, where today I am flying with Air Baltic on an Airbus A220 over to Dusseldorf. Thanks so much for joining me. Now here's a view from my bus transfer. Maybe I should start a bus channel. They seem to feature regularly in my videos. Anyways, here's the jet we're flying on today. It's a little bit unusual because we're flying from Heathrow to Dusseldorf, as I mentioned. But we're on this A220-300 with Air Baltic, but actually the flight is ticketed by Eurowings. Air Baltic is just, I guess, helping Eurowings out over the summer. Oh, and here's a quick shot of the Emirates A380 on display as you drive into the tunnels at Heathrow. Beautifully framed by a Qantas A380, here's our jet, and here's Terminal 2. It's enormous. I haven't been here for a little while. It's all fresh and feels really new still, despite being open for a number of years. Here I am making my way into the terminal as I start to navigate around this enormous place to get on board my flight. Terminal 2 is a Star Alliance stronghold, so there's a real variety of airlines and destinations based here. Anyone from United and Air Canada, right the way through to people like Eurowings and Singapore Airlines. Like many of the terminals at Heathrow and around the world, just allow lots of time to get from A to B. Just to get to some of the satellites at Terminal 2, you are taking up to 15 to 20 minutes just to do that walk. Anyways, a quick float through fast track security, and here we are on the departure side of Terminal 2. It really is a very lovely, airy and enormous building. It was about 6 AM when I filmed this, and you'll see that the terminal was actually relatively calm, and that despite there being lots of flights heading all over the place. There's lots of facilities and lots of different places to go to get a cup of coffee or something to eat. United, Air Canada and Lufthansa all have lounges here. However, United and Air Canada are quite a walk as they're in the terminal piers, which are something like 20 minutes away from where I was filming just here. I did try to get in the Lufthansa lounge, but my basic ticket failed to get me in. So anyways, worth a try, and I ended up here for a cup of coffee instead. It was actually very nice. So this is a Eurowings flight, but of course in an Air Baltic plane. Now I've seen before, and you'll have seen from other videos I've done, that I always find the baggage check process that Eurowings insist on doing before you board the plane to be a real pain. No such thing happened today, although you'll see later the aircraft was actually fairly empty, so maybe they don't bother if they know they've got a really light load. Here we are, just starting to think about getting on board our aircraft and getting underway for Dusseldorf. Here's another shot of that Qantas A380 being towed into position behind our jet, and here we are boarding. A nice warm welcome, and here we are in the cabin of the A220 in a typical 2-3 configuration. There is a little business class section that's further forward, but all of the seats look the same. The cabin was in really good condition, and actually the legroom was pretty good too. Here I am showing you the table, which was pretty tiny but very functional, and then you have a couple of little nets to hold water and papers and newspapers and such. As ever, the A220 windows never fails to disappoint. And here's a broader shot of the cabin, which looked really nice with its lime green LED lighting, which matched the aircraft's livery. Here too are the little televisions they use throughout the flight too. Oh, and yes, air vents again. I do love it that you get your own that you can control yourself. How lovely.
As well. If there is a failure in the air supply, your oxygen mask will drop down automatically in front of you. Pull the mask towards you, and don't worry.
With a light load, we push back exactly on time into this beautiful sunny day from Heathrow's Terminal 2.
Before helping others. If we must evacuate, there are 6 emergency exits on this airplane, marked with a green exit sign above them, in the front, in the centre, and at the back. To find an exit, just follow the light strips on the floor. Take a look around to find the nearest exit, and let us just remind you that it might be behind you. During evacuation, leave.
Air Baltic wet leases its aircraft to Eurowings for use over the busy summer season. So all of the crew were Air Baltic crew and were very pleasant and very professional. I've sped this part of the video up a little bit, although I will say the pilot certainly didn't waste any time getting from one end to the other. I guess we had a slot that we were desperately keen to meet, but you can see here there's a lot of aircraft now getting into position and waiting to go. As seems increasingly common at Heathrow, multiple aircraft are lining up on the runway at any one time. You'll see here that as we enter the runway, there's a jet just a bit further down that's doing exactly the same thing and appeared to have done an intersection takeoff from much further down the runway. My guess is this simply aids efficiency and means aircraft can quickly depart rather than having to taxi all of the way to the end of the runway. I'm sure there'll be some experts here who can comment and let us know how this process works. So we got all lined up and I'll be quiet for the takeoff as always. A220s tend to be pretty quick on takeoff anyway, but ours was no exception, not least because we were very light. It was a lovely day to fly. Just look at the view and the visibility we got today. We got into the cruise and it was a very high cloud base, so we never actually breached the top layer you'll see here, but it did make for a really spectacular view over the wing of the A220. Here's another tour of the seat. I have to say it was very functional, comfortable, and I had plenty of legroom, which is great. There was no service provided as such, it's all pay for service with Eurowings, but I was comfortable enough watching my iPhone and having a drink of water that I purchased from the terminal. The seats were actually pretty comfortable. I know that Air Baltic uses these on some quite long runs. I have to say I found it really comfortable for the 55-minute trip over to Dusseldorf. Soon we were cloud surfing as we started our descent into Dusseldorf. It literally felt like we were simply up and down really quickly. And actually most normal flights between the two cities are no more than about an hour, so really quick trip this morning. We made a number of really big sweeping turns as we made our final approach into Dusseldorf. This shot shows off the beautiful sweeping wing of the A220. If you like these trip reports, you might be interested in my trip report playlist, so do take a look on the channel. Thank you. Soon we were skimming over the top of the beautiful German countryside. There's something about airports in Germany. Most seem to be on the edge of massive forests. Dusseldorf, well, it's no exception. Here we are, coming into land. A lovely landing by the first officer today, and welcome to Dusseldorf. A quick plug for the channel too. I'm really grateful for those who already follow me, but if you would just like and subscribe, I'd be super grateful. Thank you. I'd certainly fly Air Baltic again. The aircraft was newish, clean, the crew were great, and the cost at £84 was good too. It's also flying on board what's become my favourite short-haul jet, the A220. What's not to like? So as we exit the runway, it's time to exit the video and we come to the end of this mini adventure. Thanks so much for being along with me. Here's the final shot then as we climb off the aeroplane using retro stairs, something that seems to be quite common for me in my recent flights. Thanks for coming along and see you soon.